Yesterday, Candace Owens had a new thumbnail for her show. The billion-dollar question. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? Well, the answer is her, of course, because she's got, 20-plus videos with millions of views? The real billion-dollar question, I suppose, is how much money has Candace Owens made milking the assassination of Charlie Kirk with lies, hypocrisy, innuendo, and crackpot conspiracies? Well, she used this thumbnail, which depicts 3 Polaroid pictures, Kash Patel, me, and a mystery man. Now, of course, on the show, she's not really claiming, or for the most part, it's more about. I had Milo on the show, Milo Yiannopoulos on Friday, and we had this very cathartic conversation about the inner workings of politics, though I certainly understand there are many people who are upset over what he said. The things that I said, I think it was genuine, and I don't know that I believe or trust everything Milo does, but it is what it is. Now, I will say this. We have been under very serious threat for months following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We had a vehicle approaching our property slowly, fire a shot, line up with our studio, fire 2 more shots. We don't know what it is. I said it before, I said it again. I'd rather just believe it's random nonsense in the middle of nowhere for someone just shooting a gun for no reason. But it doesn't make sense, and that's a naive way to approach these things. But I try to be rational and pragmatic. So it's a difficult position. It's stressful. It is. Now, the issue with Candace Owens is when she makes a thumbnail, the billion-dollar question, and she puts a mystery man in a Polaroid, the insinuation is obvious, and this is the game she's always played. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? And then she shows Kash and she shows me because she knows that people who don't pay attention, she knows that regular people scrolling through, they read headlines and they see photos, they insinuate, they connect, and they move on. And that was the point of what she was doing. I believe that it is intentional on her part. Now, I don't care about intention. I really don't. I said this last night. Elad was on the show and he said she's intentionally doing it. I said, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The question is, what is the outcome of what she's doing as she pushes these psychopath grifter conspiracies so she can profit off of the death of Charlie Kirk while spitting on his grave and smiling as she does? What is the outcome? It's actually pretty obvious. We've received emails from people threatening us with death. And when you ask who benefited and you have a mystery man Polaroid, here's the insinuation. You're saying, is it Kash? Is it Tim? Or is there a mystery person? Because if it was really just about, no, she'll say it's because we were highlighting his episode of With Milo. Then why put the mystery man Polaroid? This is social engineering 101. I have called her out for it before. Assumptive manipulation, assumptive reasoning. The way it works is you will say something hoping the other person or knowing they will assume an incorrect thing. It's very common in sales. And, one way I describe it without trying to be specific and call anybody out would be like if I said, you know what I really want to do? I want to buy everyone the most delicious filet mignon they've ever had. That's what I want to do. You know what? I say we do it. But, guys, I really would love to. Now, we need to hit our sales goal of X amount of widgets sold. Then everyone now believes. Did I say I would buy them? No, I said I want to. Then when they do the sales, I come out and say, we did it. I'm getting you dinner. They go, oh man, the best steak dinner of my life. And then I order them a hot dog. And they go, what is this? And I'll say, it's dinner. And they go, you said you were getting me steak. I never said that. I said I wanted to. I can't do that. See, that's how you manipulate someone into doing something without ever having actually pay off the reward. This is a component of what she does. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? Here's a picture of Tim Pool. We get it. So where are we, my friends? Well, Antunes 1. Candace Owens' new video, Who Benefited from Charlie Kirk's Assassination. Meanwhile, her last 20 videos with millions of views, each all about Charlie. Lies, innuendo, and I love this. None of these things have ever been answered. It's basically the Lost of news, politics, and true crime. Every episode is just a question. It's just a question with heavy insinuations. Now, of course, she's tweeted out directly calling on people to pull their donations from Turning Point USA. We have this clip from Nick Fuentes, of all people, Nick Fuentes. And he's got praise for me, which is, look where we are. Candace uniting Nick Fuentes, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin. How is this possible? Was that her play all along? To be a vile, evil scumbag forcing people who normally disagree on many issues to come together? Maybe that's the play, right? Well, here's what Nick said in response to a question about Israel killing Charlie Kirk.
Nick, keep an open mind on Israeli involvement in Charlie's assassination. There are many fact and suspicious events pointing that way. Why are we stopped noticing when it comes to this? America first.
You're an idiot. Sorry. Thank you for the big super chat, but I'm sorry. If you're on the Candace Owens train, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to try to appease you. It's wrong. It's stupid. All of it is stupid, and I'm not going to entertain it at all. And I thought Tim Pool had an epic go-off on it tonight. It was awesome.
Well, to be fair, the Daily Beast called it MAGA star melts down at Trump fans in expletive-filled rant, and they called it, I believe they called it unhinged. Yes, in an unhinged verbal assault. Man, it's really interesting. It's really interesting, isn't it? Why is it that so many liberals love Candace Owens? Let's see. Let's scroll down on this. Let me show you. The Young Turks. The Young Turks, are they conservatives? Let's scroll down and see what we have. Maybe Candace is right. Surely Candace is right. She is spot on. It's pronounced TP Israel now. You know what's really fascinating? You know what's fascinating to me is, I like to peruse the old leftist YouTube every now and then. And I went to the Young Turks, and sure enough, they're like aligned with Candace on this. Okay, I say like as the literal, not completely, but it feels that way. And the comment sections are, you find the right video. You find a video that's related to Turning Point, Erica Kirk, Israel. And it's so funny. The overlap between Turning Point and Candace's audience, they love each other. Anna Kasparian even saying that she's been watching more Candace Owens recently. You know, it's really fascinating. It's true crime. It's female-coded, and Candace has tapped into it with her Stanley mug and her, I loved him, when I said, yeah, I feel like an alien here. And he said, I'm a time traveler. I'm like, what is it, like a romantic drama? Yeah, true crime, romance, mystery box. I genuinely believe that Candace Owens likely planned this out. I think she's very smart. And I think they were looking at how do we make compelling content. You can take a look at shows that have succeeded, shows that have failed. And I think they very much went for Mystery Box is great. Mystery Box is a show that always ends on a cliffhanger. So, for example, we joked about this here about, doing skateboarding stuff that always ends on a cliffhanger. You do something random, completely random. There's two ways to resolve it. I could say something like, as I'm wrapping up a segment, I can go, whoa. I just got an email. Oh my God. I need to do another segment on this, guys. Check out my next segment coming up at 1. I can't believe this. Off. And then everyone's like, what happened? What's the next episode? I have to watch. I was talking to my buddy Robbie. Shout out Robbie. And he was just like, Tim, it's like every episode ends on a cliffhanger and you got to see the next episode to figure out what happens. And I don't really take it seriously. And I'm like, well, a lot of people do. And it's destroying politics. We're trying to fix and mend these problems. And she's sitting there smiling, burning it all down. Let me finish this video from Nick.
I have never seen such a clear-cut case of an individual person being such an unnecessary detriment through sheer ignorance and irresponsibility. I've never seen it. Because you could say other people that have done things like Shapiro or Charlie Kirk or whoever, you could say they're part of a system or there's an incentive structure, they're playing by the rules, whatever. Candace is spearheading this thing, like she is creating this hysteria, and it is to the detriment of everybody. It is to the detriment of the right wing broadly. It is to the detriment of anyone that seriously talks about Jews in Israel. And it's to the detriment of rationality. It is the definition of hysteria. And I thought Tim Pool, very courageous, because I know he's getting shit for it, to say something about it. He had an epic go-off on it. Major respect for him. But yeah, no, I'm not with that at all. Thank you for the big super chat, but respectfully, no, disrespectfully.
I love that.
That is stupid. Okay?
No, disrespectfully. Look, I am fed up with the fake diplomacy. I am sick and tired of the PR narrative reality. You guys know this. I know this. Everyone knows it. We know it. When something happens, a politician or a CEO is going to give a statement, and we can predict to the dotted I what they're going to say. It is generic plastic lies, and most people see through it. There are many people with low reading comprehension. I'm not trying to insult them, but they don't see through it. And so Candace, and it's fascinating because it is insulting to call someone stupid. I get it. But some people are stupid, right? So when Candace is intentionally manipulating people with low reading comprehension, she then says Tim Pool called you stupid. They're going to get mad. That is what it is. I'm not going to play any games. I'm not going to, actually what Nick was saying in here, I'm not going to pretend to try and rationalize this response. Disrespectfully, no, you're an idiot. And he makes a great point about how it's detrimental to everybody. This is the line for me. It's one thing when she has this stupid true crime show, and she's not the only one who has a stupid true crime show, but it's when she mixes it into the political world and starts destroying all of the hard work that I and many others have contributed to. I don't think myself anywhere close to what Charlie was doing. I don't completely agree with everything Charlie stated or believed in, but it was a big coalition. It was what America is supposed to be. It's what America was in the 90s when the left and the right mostly agreed on things but had some wedge issues. And now that's what, as Charlie's building this, bringing liberals, even people I don't like, onto stage, bringing me on stage, he said, this is the coalition, this is America. Now we're watching Candace Owens say a whole bunch of weird crack pottery and just burn it all down because she wants to make money, I guess. I don't think she's stupid. I think she knows full well what she's doing as she crafts these messages. So Elad said this, not me, but it's an obvious assessment. Candace Owens intentionally put me on the thumbnail because she knows that her audience is going to target us. And it's funny because even Saturday morning when I mentioned that there were shots fired outside our studio, at our property, that people started posting, he's going to blame Candace Owens for this. I am not going to blame Candace Owens. She did not tell anyone to do anything. But there is the very much, oh, won't someone rid me of this priest? Her making that thumbnail yesterday, I'm not playing stupid games. She knows what she's doing. The Polaroid with the question mark saying who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? Was it Cash, Tim Pool, or a mystery person? Is that really the message? Well, that's the message she's conveying through the imagery. That is going to make regular people assume that I somehow benefited. And it's the funniest thing in the world because I have literally nothing to do with Turning Point, and I'm not even going to be there. I've never worked for Turning Point. I've only worked with them in the capacity that I've been at AmFest, one of their events. We did it 3 years in a row. We're not going to be there this year because I'm going to play poker instead. Let me finish up this video from Nick Fuentes.
I don't buy into that for 2 seconds. Charlie Kirk was Israel's number. You say, why are we stopped noticing? First of all, why are we stopped noticing? You can't even write. You can't read or write. You're a fucking idiot. That's one. Two, nobody stopped noticing. Noticing is about paying attention to evidence. Evidence. Not scraping the bottom of the barrel talking about maroon t-shirts and looking at flight logs and finding any and every possible thing and throwing it at the wall to see what will stick. She says to Russell Brand, it's all connected. Brigitte Macron, Charlie Kirk, the war in Gaza. What a coincidence that everything you talk about is really all the same thing. You just knew it was going back to Brigitte Macron. So no, it's fucking bullshit. And, nobody wants to say that because everybody is afraid of this hysterical mob. I faced it before. I was right before. I'm right about this. I'll be vindicated. You watch. I'm done arguing about it. I've said what I have to say on it.
It's fascinating. It's funny because people are always like, Tim, when are you going to debate Nick Fuentes? And I'm like, guys, debate him on what? Like Israel? Really? I mean, he's allowed to believe what he believes, and I disagree with him, so I guess. But it was funny because, I'm from the south side of Chicago, so when Nick Fuentes says, 5% of black people are murderers, they should be in prison, he was on Piers Morgan the other day, and it's just like, well, yes, anyone who's a murderer should go to prison. And that was the point he's making. He's doing it in a way that's kind of inflammatory, but he gets you to interact with it. I think it's absolutely fascinating. He points out that people are scared of the mob. And that's the reality. I said this yesterday. I was super pissed off, and it's a combination of factors. Tim Pool had more than a few harsh words about his fellow conservatives. And it's just like every conservative is like, Tim Pool is not a conservative. Yeah, I'm not, There are a lot of right-leaning people in the poker world, I'll tell you that. They're largely apolitical. But conservatives are not a fan of poker. It's not gambling. I will debate you. I know that a lot of poker players say it is, and it's fine. It's a debate. But the point is, conservatives aren't about to be promoting gambling or anything like that. Poker in their worldview, right? I'm not a conservative. I'm a moderate, disaffected liberal with still some liberal economic tendencies, and I agree with conservatives on a lot of things. Like, I love this background Nick has. I long for this room. I know it's a green screen. I'm pretty sure it is. But I just absolutely love the twinkling Christmas tree lights and low dim lights. I've talked about looking out the window as the snow falls with candle lights and your Christmas lights. And that is home, and that is America, and that is what we want. And I think Nick and I agree with that, agree on that one. And it is funny, too, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know where he's from, but I know where he is now was only a couple miles. I think it's like 5 miles away. Actually, not even. As the crow flies, probably like 2 or 3 miles from where I grew up. So I imagine that we actually, outside of like the very, very Israel stuff, I'd imagine we agree on a lot of things. But he mentions that people are scared of this mob. And I think that's why they don't want to speak up. More and more people are starting to. And, last night, there's a combination of factors that set me on edge. I am pissed off at these conservatives. And we've talked about on Timcast IRL, we've called them out before. These conservatives who are taking cash to promote drinking soda on SNAP benefits? Like, you get welfare money to drink soda and you're advocating for this? What is this commie BS? The money was good, I guess. Then there were people that were posting all of these things saying, India didn't do anything wrong. Like, why are we coming out against India? And I'm like, why are you for India? Because someone paid them. Milo points out Elijah Schaffer. I like Elijah, but criticism where criticism is due. And then all these people that were promoting this foreign gambling site. I'm less upset about that one. I don't have a problem with gambling so much as I have with addiction in general. And I'm never going to come at some dude who worked all week, goes to the sports bar with his buddies, and wants to put $50 down on the Steelers or something because he wants to have a little excitement. I will have a problem with people coming in, paying their whole paychecks, burning it up, and then freaking out. That's addiction. Same as alcoholism. All things in moderation. I think people should be allowed to have some form of entertainment. And I also say to, on the gambling side of things, why am I even getting into this at this point? Anyway, the point is, I'm done, right? The point is, there are a lot of people that scared to speak up against Candace because she's gonna do to them what she did to me. And as Alad was saying, she made this thumbnail not to actually cause threats to me or anything, but it's to terrify anyone who might criticize her. That's how she builds up her audience, because these people are only getting the message from her and no one will speak out against her. Nobody will. I'm not the first person to criticize her. Obviously, Ben Shapiro did much before me. My line was further back than Ben's was, but I believe she crossed the line when she did that ridiculous, I'm taking my show off the air, there's a threat against me. I'm like, she's lying to people. And I called her out for it. I criticized her on a couple things before that, but it's obviously escalated to the point where she told people to pull their call for refunds from Turning Point. Now she's explicit, right? When she's saying, take your donations from this godforsaken organization. That's explicit. Layered on top of the implicit, they killed Charlie Kirk, now destroy them. She is telling people to destroy Turning Point. We need Turning Point. Criticize them all you want. That's fine. We need Dave Rubin. We need Tucker Carlson. We need to be unified so that we can win elections and make sure COVID doesn't happen again. I mean, the lockdowns. And this is part of the rant that I had. We locked down the country, and it is largely the Democrats that did. I know Trump deserves some of the blame because he called for 2 weeks slow spreads first, but it was the Republicans in the state level and in Congress who were resisting the lockdowns. That doesn't mean they're the good guys. It could just be controlled opposition. But I tell you this, under them, there was resistance. So I say I'll take the best that I can get, not that I completely trust it. What Candace is doing, and I love this, now referring to herself in the third person. Where's that tweet that I had? I said, why does Candace refer to herself in the third person and or plural? She always says we and us. Okay, so here's her response. Chief Trump says, wow, Timcast goes off on Candace Owens. She said, he is genuinely not well right now. Agreed. I wouldn't turn this into a cheap internet moment. There is just so clearly something personal going on in his life. It's hard to run a business, and he's under pressure. Pray he comes through it. What I would say is this, Candace is losing the argument, and she knows it. More and more people are calling her out. They're saying she's exploiting people. She's making a conspiracy mob, and more people are starting to come out. I was not the first. Anybody who feels that my speaking up has opened up an opportunity for them to do so, that's great. I'm not doing this for anybody else. I just literally talk about what I feel, and much to my own detriment. So here's the post she had. She said, here's Clint Russell. He said, Podcast Wars 2025 has officially begun. She says, I cannot explain it, but I sense that this isn't actually about me, and that Tim Pool is under tremendous financial pressure. Men behave a certain way when they are under economic pressure, and I feel like he's just lashing out, and I happen to be here. This is Candace Owens saying, I lost the argument. I'm being exposed, and I have no real way to push back. Her shows never resolve any of the mysteries she presents. She's just asking questions. She claimed UTC was Utah time. She said there's Egyptian planes flying all around. There aren't. There are Egyptian planes flying around for sure, but the ones she's apparently pointing to, some of them aren't even in the United States. Some of them it's just coincidence, but she's just asking questions. She then claimed that some of these airplanes are landing at airports where black SUVs are driving to a federal building, in which the address she read off was the address of her own lawyers. However, she confirmed that feds do work out of that building. Funny, her feds work in the same building as her lawyers? She never vetted that these SUVs were coming from the airport. That was all just blah in the email. She then said, I confirm the address that has feds in it, which then leads people to assume that this confirms the whole story about planes landing and SUVs coming to this thing. She never said she vetted that or confirmed it. You see the game she's playing. Now she's being exposed because people are starting to speak out against her. And there are certain people who do it with reckless abandon, like myself, because I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm not here for diplomacy. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to be the number one podcast. I literally just turn the camera on and whinge. And whinge I will. In an unhinged rant, says Daily Beast. So now she's going for the female debate strategy. Strike at Tim Pool's stability, his emotional stability, his financial stability. None of this actually makes an argument. By the way, I might add, Candace, behind me right there is a $3,000 Magic the Gathering card. Certainly if I was under it. And next to it is a $700 card. In fact, you can look at all of my dual lands. Oh, how about this? How about this $20,000 Meteorite Jian? That's correct. That sword was forged from meteorite, and it is very expensive. Spare me your stupid games. I am a wealthy individual. Everybody knows it. I ain't hurting for anything. I own a bunch of property. This is a pathetic attempt at deflection, for which she continues by referring to herself in the third person like a schizo. On that note, I genuinely hope that whatever it is, he gets through it. But I can guarantee that blaming the future 2026 GOP midterm results on Candace Owens is not the solution. Candace, referring to herself as Candace Owens like some kind of schizo, maybe that makes sense. Maybe, I'm wrong and she's not smart. She's actually just three people in one. And that's why she can't actually have a linear path to whatever investigation she's working on. So to these people that are trying to entertain her, I'm not playing these games with you, okay? Russell Brand, what are you doing? She's making up stupid crack pottery. She's connecting dots that don't need to be connected, as Nick Fuentes said. Bridget McCrone is a man, and it's connected to Charlie Kirk, and it's just... And as sooner or later, Blake Lively finds her way in there. But women love it. They love it. Isn't that funny? Men like the objective. What is or what is not. And we disagree quite a great deal upon that. And the women love the who done it, who knows. We don't know. Not all women, not all men. But Candace is largely tapped into this. So I will just say this. I am absolutely loving this. Candace falling apart. Tim Pool is not well and he's under financial pressure. And that's not true at all. I think we're tracking for $15 million this year or whatever. I will say that I am I am emotional, I am aggressive and passionate, and perhaps dispassion would serve me better. I would say that my motivation for being involved in whatever this is has always been about what is true, correct, and beneficial to the American people, and how I and Nick can truly have this room. I'm not kidding. I want that room, Nick. The Christmas trees, the presents, the lights are flickering, they're dim. Man, that is Christmas morning, and it warms my heart. And, maybe like I think most people understand that Christmas morning, but I know Nick's from, just around the same area as I am. So that's the living room I want to have. That's what I want this country to be. I want to live in the country that I and everyone else is fighting for. Candace is doing everything in her power to extract as the system burns down. And you know what? We had Gary, the numbers guy, on, and he was saying, AI is coming. You've got 3 years to get a bag. Otherwise, you're poor forever. And maybe that's really Candace's play. She knows it. AI is going to destroy all of this. It's true. I talked about it. We can't compete with AI-generated content. I mean, I've written songs, if you guys know, like the Timcast music stuff. So I've played some demos right here. I got my guitar right next to me. I've played just like some simple acoustic demo version of the song, uploaded it to Suno, and clicked make it in this style. Song's done. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And I'm thinking to myself, why not just publish it? It's a great song. I wrote it. I get the money for it. It's a Timcast song. It's not performed by me. It was generated by AI. Do I care about the ego of saying I sang the song, or do I want to put out just a good song? That's what's really crazy about where we're going. AI is going to take everything over. And so the question then is, maybe Candace is just looking at this saying, if we don't get 50 million right now, we're going to be left holding an empty bag because AI is going to destroy our industry. Podcasting is going to be destroyed. It's already being manipulated. Fake videos are already coming out. And she's probably thinking to herself, I got a couple of years left. I'm going to extract everything for all it's worth. And she's doing a great job of it. In the meantime, politically, we're sinking. And it's partially her fault. Now, I said if we lose the midterms, I'm blaming her wholly because while I don't think she is 100% the reason Trump is failing. Trump has his own faults. And Republicans have their own faults. But burning down Turning Point and going after people on the right only serves to help Democrats win. And she is the biggest thorn in our side right now as it pertains to how do we register more voters and how do we win. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm just going to talk about whatever I feel like talking about today, man. I don't know. It is what it is. Smash the like button, share the show. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next segment.